everyone, welcome to a new video on the channel. Today we are wrapping up the month of May in my reading journal, and I had a really good time filming this video for you all. I just really enjoyed my time in my reading journal, and I think that might be because I didn't really use it a lot over May. So having like a dedicated day or two just in it to set up for June, which you might notice I'm wearing the same plaid shirt in this video as I was at the end of that video. That's because I just continued on with wrapping up for May on the same day. But I just had a really good time, and everything came together quite nicely for this wrap up, which is not always the case, and I get kind of stressed filming these videos. I think I've mentioned it a couple of times before, but it really does stress me out when I'm trying to remember all the stats and get them into the right place and fill in all the pages, and it shouldn't stress me out, but I know it's more so down to the fact that I keep using my old camera that doesn't have a very large battery capacity to film, and should just swap to using my Android phone. But I digress. We are now on to the stats page, and I'm going to set this up in full. If you're new here, every month at the end of the month I take the time to set this up in person on camera for you all to see. It is sped up like most of my videos. The content would be really long otherwise. And for the month of May, my theme was Thorn Manor, which is from Sorcery of Thorns by Margaret Rogerson. You can check out the May setup video in the links below. I will link everything down there along with all the tools that I'm using to complete this wrap up. And I really liked the colour scheme for this month, but I found it a little bit challenging to remember what pens I had used. I should have checked my video, but I also lost one of them. I have no idea where it is on my desk. It is quite chaotic in there. So I do need to find it. So you might notice that this pen here that I'm using to write in the titles is slightly darker than the one that I had been using in the setup, but that's okay, it's still purple. And let's get into the actual stats now. So I read a total of 15 books in May, and it was kind of a mixed bag month. It is definitely showing that I didn't read as much as I have in the last couple of months. I just took more time out for myself, I think. I have mentioned in a community post that I did get a little bit burnt out after a personal family emergency. So I just took some time for myself, and I did read a little bit through that time, but the majority of my time was just doing nothing, and that was what I needed. So it's definitely a slower month, and the star ratings was really interesting as well, because normally the star rating that I give out the most is 4 stars, and I don't have a single 4-star read in the month of May. I did end up with 4 5-star reads, and 2 of them are by the same author, and one of those books is my favourite for the month, and that was Funny Feelings by Tara DeWitt. My first time reading anything by this author, and I am so obsessed with the way that she writes really balanced romances that I am now going through her catalogue and picking up all the other books that I can. It's quite funny because I applied for the ARC of her new release, Savour It, without realising who she was, or sorry, I shouldn't gender who they were, and I read Funny Feelings just on a whim. I managed to pick it up as an audiobook from my library, really enjoyed myself, and it turns out that I had the ARC for her new book, which I loved as well, gave that 5 stars. The other 2 books that I had for 5-star ratings were another e-ARC, A Rivalry of Hearts by, I hope I'm saying the author's name right, 𝓤𝓲𝓷𝓭. Absolutely love this. It's a fae fantasy, academic rivals to lovers, the tension, the banter, it's perfection. Please pick this up if it's something that you would enjoy. And the other one was a reread. It was How the King of Alfheim Learned to Hate Stories by Holly Black, and I'm just making my way through that series, the Folk of Air series, to meet up to the companion series now. And I'm all there now, so I can start that in June. So for the other stats this month, I read a total of 5,181 pages. My average was 3.6 because quite a lot of the books were just averagely based. I gave out the most ratings to 3 stars. There were 5 of them, and there were a couple of 2.5 stars as well. I spent a total of 19 hours listening to audiobooks, which is quite low for me. Normally I'm listening to audiobooks a lot. I had 6 arcs. I DNF'd 1 book. I purchased 5 books. I hired 5 books out from the library, and 10 books were part of a series, 5 were standalones. I did participate in the 𝓬𝓷𝓷𝓭 quietly, and I really enjoyed that. I didn't really participate in the active chats, like I mentioned. I was burned out, so I just read what I did and then added it to the readathon. And I had 1 book club read. I did do a loose buddy read with a friend, but then we found that we really just needed to consume the book at our own pace, and obviously I had 1 reread. As you can see, a lot of the page is already set up. We had a total of 1 book that was a physical. For ebooks I had 9 of them, audiobooks I had 5, and no mixed reads. I read a total of 13 novels, 1 graphic novel, and 1 novella. I spent the most of my time reading adult books, which was great, but I did have 4 YA as well. And I had 5 romances, 6 fantasy, 3 paranormals, and 1 contemporary for my genres. The pacing is now going up on the screen. I actually don't have those notes in front of me, and the screen's quite small, but I think the majority of my pacing were medium read books. And for star ratings, there were 4 5 stars, 4 3.5 stars, 5 3 stars, and 2 2.5. I did spend a lot of my time in May reading the books that are part of the Kindle Takedown. This is a challenge that I'm attempting to do. I have gotten my physical TBR down quite well, so I'm trying to unload my Kindle from all those books that I've picked up on Stuff Your Kindle days. And so that meant I did sample how I got 5 books, and that means I didn't get past 10%. And I also read a total for the Kindle Takedown of 10 books, but 9 of them correlate to May because 1 I had picked up in an earlier month and never finished until this month. So I am unhauling 7 books from my Kindle, which is great. It feels awesome to get to that point. 5 of them obviously I sampled, 2 of them I read and didn't enjoy enough to keep, so that is why they're going. We are now finished with the stats page, and we're moving on to the front portion of my book. So the Goodreads challenge was already filled in, and I was just making a point to put down my social media tracking. I also did the formatting pixel off camera because for the last couple of months I've been really struggling to get that one to work while filming, so I just took the stress away and did it off camera. And I don't think I made any mistakes setting up this side on the book amount on the Pixels calendar either, which was the first for this year, and I'm really excited to see how that's coming together. Admittedly, no real trends are forming and lasting, which is really interesting to me because last year I had quite a few days where I would be reading the same sort of amount of books on that particular day, but this year it's looking very different, and I can't tell if that's just down to personal life changes, or my reading tastes have changed, or the way I go about reading has changed. It's really interesting to watch some of the trends last for a few months and then take off in a different direction. I did read a lot more this month, like a lot more on different days than I normally would, so that is quite telling for why the the pixel has changed. I don't have a lot to add to these front challenge pages. I do share them more in depth in my quarterly flip-throughs, so do look out for those. The next one will be coming in July after I finish June for the mid-year, flip through. A little bit tongue-tied at the moment. So we're now on the monthly destination page. I am just putting in the monthly destination for May, which was Thorn Manor. And this journal is now complete. So I did accidentally start filming this without actually pushing record. So there are things that I filled in off camera in my reading data journal. I am now just going through the series tracker. And whilst I mentioned in my stats that I read a total of 10 different books, part of being a part of a series, I did end up only adding 2 new series to the list because a lot of them I'm just not going to continue on with or pick up at a later date. So I figured if I do end up reading them, I can add them then. But for now, these are the only 2 that I'm prepared to read on with. And I did fill in a few that I had previously done on the list. I think there was 3 or 4 of them that I'd already started as series. Just adding the new books that I got to my own TBR, and whilst I said I had 5, 2 of them were audiobooks that I brought in May, so I only added the physical ones. I am now in the 2024 section of my journal, and I'm just adding that DNF'd book to the list. It was, what was it called? Bryn and Sebastian Hate Each Other by Bethany Turner. And now we're at the 2024 at a glance page. I have mentioned that I am going to do the left side all over again because I did change things up in April using my Anko Dot Markers and a different colour, what to put, like the colours were really dark with the ones that I'm using in my other journal, and it doesn't work very well on this very thin paper. So I have used the same colours but just a different shade with these dot markers on April and May, and I'm really enjoying it, so I'm going to continue that for the rest of the year. But I do need to go back and fix that left side of this page, which I am planning to do over June sometime, because obviously I have a flip through coming and I want it to look correct. Now at the final flip through of May, I hope you've enjoyed this video and spending some time with me. I'll be back with a new video hopefully very soon. I'm not on schedule anymore at the moment, so I can't really say when another video will be coming, but I hope to have them roughly around Thursday to Sunday like I usually do. Until we next meet, I hope you have fun reading or journaling, and I will see you in another video very soon. Bye everyone.